Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you for being here. We've got a lot of people in the chat today, and the map was a little bit lagging behind, so it'll be up on there while we kick things off today. Welcome if you're new here. Thanks for joining. If you're one of our regulars, thank you for joining also. If you have any questions, start your message with the letter Q, and that makes it a little bit easier for me to spot on the screen here. Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and get things going. We got a lot of news this week. There was a lot of launches. The DJI Neo came out. I'm excited about that. For reasons that most people seem to not be talking about, which is, I think, interesting. So unfortunately, it looks like in the US we're getting it way later than everybody else. So sadly, I won't have it for a while. But okay, who do we have in the chat? Let's see. We've got, start your message with Q so that I don't lose it in the scroll back here. I will grab this from Lucas since there's no Q, and I'm definitely going to forget if I don't show it now. OBSBot Talent vs. Director Mini. What features are actually different today, and how is the firmware going to mature from now on? Did OBSBot fork the firmware, or do they pick features from each update? It's a good question. I don't know exactly the deal here. I don't have the OBSBot Talent. I don't know if I don't know if they're gonna want to send me one. But my understanding is that it is the hardware of the Director Mini, but then they're doing their own software on top of it for more specialized control of the OBSBot cameras. But I don't know if that means they are going to be continually pulling the software that Magewell makes for updates. We'll see. I'll see if I can get some info from them about it, but unfortunately, I'm not going to IBC, which is next weekend, which would have been a perfect chance to do that. So sadly, couldn't make it this year. Just too many things going on. It is too far to go to Amsterdam from Portland. I mean, there are good flight options. There's even usually some direct flights, but still, it's just a little bit too much to go this year. So yeah, we will see. We're gonna have to find out. Clear Life Media says the Blackmagic replay surface comes in on Tuesday. So excited. We've been using the DaVinci Resolve replay for football with our HyperDecks, and it really adds to the broadcast and social media. I'm so glad to hear that you've already been using it even without the controller. I think it's going to be so much better with the controller. Yeah. So I've seen a couple of people now who are getting it shipped. So that is very exciting. I'm going to try to get one on loan. I don't think I need to buy one myself because I don't really do anything that really justifies instant replays. So I'm going to just try to borrow one for a couple of weeks and then be able to do some videos about it. Emerald says the OBSBot Talent says powered by Magewell on boot up. Magewell is writing them with the hardware and software. Yeah, but I know that they did say that they are going to be doing some software differences on the OBSBot version, just to be able to integrate it better. That's at least what they said in the booth at NAB. So that was a while ago. Maybe things have changed. I don't know. How do you streamline the ISO to resolve workflow by setting invisible or ideally resolve native timeline markers for chapters and good bad takes? Oh yeah. There's no like built-in way to do this. I've seen some people develop separate tools for it, which would do things like let you create a separate collection of timestamps. Like the people have done this with like Companion saving into a Google Sheet and things like that. So there's some workflows, but nothing is going to be like built in to that workflow, sadly. I'm actually kind of disappointed with the whole ISO recording feature, Resolve specific ISO recording feature on the ATEMs. I feel like that had a lot of promise, but they never like fully developed it out. The ISO recording feature by itself, like being able to record all 8 inputs on the Extreme, is fantastic, and I've just only ever used it as grab the video files as raw video files and edit those later. I've never once opened the Resolve project, and I don't know why they like I haven't seen any updates on that part of it either. So yeah. Instant replay of catching a drone on a boat would have been great. That is a very good point. Very good point. Speaking of IBC, any predictions for what Elgato and Companion are going to announce? I'm very, very curious about this. I will be keeping a very close eye on this remotely from afar. But no, it's very, very interesting. Let me see if I can find their teasers for it. I think maybe on the, was it on, where do they do? Was it maybe the Elgato Instagram did a post? Let me see if I can find that. They are, yeah, so this is the first time that Elgato has like publicly acknowledged. Oh, if you search for Elgato on Instagram, it turns out you just get cats, which now that I think about it makes sense. How do I find their account? There we go. Was it on their Instagram? No, it's not. Where are they talking about it? Where are they talking about it? I know there was a link to it in John's Discord. Let me see if I can just pull that up. This is the first time that they have publicly acknowledged that Companion exists. Like, they haven't ever really said that they haven't really acknowledged that Companion is a thing that everybody buys a Stream Deck for. Not everybody. A lot of people buy a Stream Deck just to use it with Companion and have no interest in the Elgato software. But they haven't really ever acknowledged it until now. So now there's going to be some sort of something here. Is it on this? Oh, maybe it's on their Facebook. Oh gosh. Okay. Here it is. So the this was their Facebook post. So they're actually saying they're going to be on IBC and Companion is joining them. So if you are there, go take a look at this booth because but yeah, they're actually saying like learn all about Stream Deck and Companion. And there's a teaser with something that doesn't seem to exist yet, which is this little rack, this thing, which looks to me like a 1U rack mount Stream Deck with Stream Deck buttons and a dial over there. That's what that looks like to me. So my suspicion is that they have new hardware that they built specifically for broadcast people. It's interesting that they also have it not mounted in a rack, just kind of sitting on this desk, which is actually a pretty convenient place for it. So if that is the case, I'm very excited for it. So if you are there, definitely go take a look at the booth, and I will be keeping an eye on any posts people make about it. I wish they would allow you to use Companion and Stream Deck software at the same time. So you actually kind of can. Do I have it on my computer? I don't even have a Stream Deck on this computer, but yeah, okay. So you kind of can. I don't know if I have the plugin installed, but this is the Stream Deck software from Elgato, and yeah, I do have it installed. So there is a plugin for Companion. So what you can do is you can go make your regular Stream Deck buttons. Like, I don't know, what do you want to do on a Stream Deck? Like a timer. You can have, brightness, whatever. Okay, cool. So you have all your like native Stream Deck buttons. Like here's launch a website on your computer. Cool. But then down here, Companion button. If you drag this in, then stop asking me this. Then this Companion button is this lets you, where is it? There it is. So, oh, it's trying to connect. I don't apparently have it connected to Companion. But what you can do is you can say which page, which Companion button do you want this button to correspond to. So you have to kind of set up this mapping. So I could say page 1, row, what is this? Row 3, column 0. So I can make this correspond to the same button on companion for this physical button here. So then this will actually press that button in companion. This will be more helpful if I actually had it connected to companion. Let's see. I don't even remember how to do this because I never do it this way because I don't ever use the companion software. But oh, it has to be on the same machine, so I can't connect it to my remote companion. Fine. I don't even know what I have installed on the Mac companion. Probably nothing. Let's see if that is able to connect. Anyway, you get the idea. So you can kind of combine them. It's a little bit more setup because you have to, again, do this mapping. I guess dynamic page means if you change the pages, it'll, yeah. Anyway, it's interesting. You can kind of combine it. I don't like doing it that way. I just prefer to have companion running on a separate machine anyway. So, yeah. Emerald is planning to do it at IBC, not fully confirmed, but I have tickets. Cool, cool. Yeah, if you're in Europe, it's a lot easier to get to than if you're in the US, but that's just how it goes. Am I getting the ATEM micro panel? So that also started shipping. And actually I saw Doug Johnson did a video. Let me grab his, or live stream about it. Let me grab his link because then you can go take a look at that. So there it is. This was, looks like he did this yesterday. Doug's ATEM micro panel live stream. Yeah, so the ATEM micro panel, where is it? Oops. Why is it not on here? Huh. I don't know why it's not on the site. Is it in here? Anyway, it's this little, the reason I'm not going to get it, I wish I could show a picture of it, but oh well. The reason I'm not going to get it is because I do everything for my show using companion anyway, and I have that pretty well set up. So like I'm using the Stream Deck over here to control the stream, and it's because I can do things like run multiple actions at a time, configure multiple devices, do things on devices other than the ATEM by pushing the buttons, and so I don't have a need for that reason. And if I go and do a remote show, which I will talk about in a minute because I've been doing a lot of planning for this now. One, it turns out I might not actually bring an ATEM, but two, I also want companion because I can do more automations with it. The other thing that I'm like very confused about, but I guess I see why they did it this way. The ATEM panel, the micro panel, unlike the big panels, so like these big panels work differently. The micro panel is actually more like an external keyboard for your computer. It is wireless, it's Bluetooth, but it's more like a keyboard for the computer because it actually requires that you have the ATEM software control running on your computer, and it pairs to your computer and it controls the software control, which controls your ATEM. It doesn't talk to your ATEM directly. These panels have like an Ethernet port, and these are direct controllers into the ATEM, and the micro panel is not. So it makes it easier to set up because you don't have to worry about networking and IP addresses and stuff, but it does mean that you have to have a computer there to pair it to. So it's definitely a trade-off. Hans, sorry, I think YouTube is blocking links. Oh, Petra also did a live stream with a micro panel. Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, that's why I'm not like super excited about it, but it's cool. It's a very cool device, and there are very nice buttons. So there is that. Did I? There is a search. I don't know why I've never used that search before. ATEM micro panel. Oh, it just takes me to here. Did I just miss it? No. I searched ATEM micro panel and it just takes me to the ATEM page and it's not there. Huh. If I do show all, can I search on the page? No. Weird. Anyway. Oh well. The end. Blackmagic has the least confusing, easy to find info site. Yeah. It's under advanced panel all the way down. Are you serious? Okay, now I have to go find it. ATEM advanced panels. Oh, do we have to go all the way down on this page? There it is. Oh, but there's no product page for it. It's just a buy now link. And then that just takes me to the constellation page. Do they have like, there it is. Okay. That's the picture I was looking for. It is very pretty and it is, they are very, very nice buttons. But yeah, it is just a little bit weird that it's only, a computer controller, not a network controller. That's just my opinion. If you have to search for it, it isn't good marketing. Yeah. Micropanels on the main Blackmagic page. Scroll down, no click. Okay, you know what? I never go to that page. That's interesting. As far as I'm concerned, the products page is the home page. Let's see what's on the home page today. Homepage is Ursa Cine 12K, NAB, Blackmagic camera on Android. Oh, right. They put that out for Android. More cameras, Resolve replay editor. Micro color panel. It's very cute. Speaking of, now that I actually have an iPad that's new, I should try out Resolve on the iPad. Cloud Store Max, Blackmagic Media Player. This thing is cool too. I really want to get my hands on this because this seems like it can solve a lot of problems. 2110, Smart View 4K, audio monitor, ATEM. There it is. ATEM micro panel. Does this take me to... Nope, same place. Takes me to that page with... Okay, so they don't have a dedicated page for it. That's interesting. Anyway, we're getting off track. Okay, what else? Oh, DJI Neo. That was the other thing I mentioned. Dylan says DJI Neo is hella small. It's true. So, okay. The reason I'm excited about the DJI Neo does not seem to be the reason anybody else is talking about it. The DJI Neo, it had been rumored for weeks, so it wasn't exactly a surprise, but it's finally at least announced, and all the influencer videos came out about it. I am not one of those. I do not have the ear of DJI yet, and I don't do enough videos about drones for reasons, so probably not going to happen. But it's this tiny little thing. It is extremely small, and it is pretty much a direct competitor to the Hover Air X1, which I did buy a couple of months ago, which I got for, again, the same reason of it being this small, but most importantly, the enclosed propellers. So, you know, it's cute, whatever. It can do like the take off from your hand thing and do like the auto follow shots and zoom around you and all that kind of stuff. I'm excited for the DJI one because you can also pair it with an actual controller and get manual control over it. The Hover Air, you can do manual control from the phone, which is a disaster because like using an on-screen joystick is just a nightmare. It's a terrible user experience. But this means you can pair it to an actual DJI controller and then you get sticks to control the drone manually. The camera quality is not as good as the Mini by any means, but it's good enough. It's, good enough. But the reason that I am excited about it is because of how light it is, because the rules for flying drones over people mean that this and the hover air are the only two drones you can fly over people in the US, fly over people without going through a bunch of extra paperwork. If you look at this is the FAA page for the updated rules for flights over people, which was put out in 2021. This is where they define these categories, and this is like, I know this is supposed to be this is like the summary of the actual final rule, and this is supposed to be the easy to read version, but it still takes like a lot of focus to get through this and understand what it's trying to say. Category 1 is you can fly over people as long as it's under 0.55 pounds, which is pounds to grams, so 249 grams, which is what everyone has, what all the drone manufacturers have set as the target for them, because of other FAA rules, and other countries have similar rules. So if you get the DJI Mini series, it's 249 grams, which is under this. But the problem is that you have to have no exposed propellers. And as soon as you add any prop guards to these 249 gram drones, they go over 249 grams, and they don't count under this anymore. So there hasn't been a good drone under 249 grams with prop guards until the hover air and now the DJI Neo. So the important thing about category 1 is that it is self-certified. It is meant to be that the pilots can determine that their drone is a category 1 drone, versus category 2 and 3 require that the drone manufacturer actually submit documents describing how it complies with these categories, and they get this marking, this category label that goes on into the drone. And so the DJI Mini 3 would fall under category 2 because it's over that weight, but DJI did not do the work to get it certified as category 2 with the prop guards added. So you just can't do it. So the DJI Neo is the first one that's an actual category 1 drone, which basically means you can just go and fly it. The only other requirement, and this really should be a bullet point under here rather than a separate paragraph, the only trick is that the DJI Neo does not have remote ID. So remote ID is required if you want to fly it over open air assemblies, which basically means larger crowds. But also, if you're Part 107 pilot and flying commercially, you have to have remote ID at all times. So I can't fly the DJI Neo, stock DJI Neo commercially without also adding the remote ID module. So you can go buy these little modules. They're very tiny and very light, and you can stick them to the drone, and then they get remote ID. And this is also how I did it with the hover air. So I can get the DJI Neo, I can get a remote ID module, stick it to the DJI Neo, and now I'm compliant with category 1, including over open air assemblies and including commercially. And that is why I'm excited about it. And most importantly, because I get all of that, and I can manually control it with sticks. It's not just a little selfie drone. So that's the story. That's basically the outline of a video. If I ever make a video about this, once I get it, that's what the video is going to be. So flying over people is not the problem. Crashing into people is. Yes. I mean, the whole premise of all of these rules is risk mitigation. So it's actually really interesting if you read I went and found this actual document, this is the actual final rule that revises the flights over people rules. And this is how many pages? 300 pages. There's a lot, but it's actually like relatively readable. This is why I was almost late to start the stream today, because I was reading through this and I was like, oh my God, there's only 5 minutes left. Got to start the stream, which is why the map didn't work. Anyway, you can actually go and read this, and it's relatively digestible. But what this does versus that summary page is this actually explains a lot of the reasoning for all these rules and a lot of the comments that took place while this was being created. So here's the category 1 section. which is basically the summary. But then if you go down to section V, which is somewhere down here, you'll somewhere, there it is. This is where they discuss all the reasons for the weight threshold and what were the alternatives chosen. There was someone recommended increasing it to 1 pound. There's also the interesting note in here, which was that the FAA themselves wanted drone pilots to be able to self-determine if their drone was Category 1, which is meant to be this low risk category. And that means you can't do things like have the requirements be based on the kinetic energy of an impact, because regular people don't know how to measure that. You need special tools. So the drone manufacturers have to measure kinetic energy of impacts based on speed and weight to submit their Category 2 and 3 documents, but they didn't want to make that requirement for Category 1. That way someone can just take a drone, put it on a scale, and determine if it falls under Category 1. Which is really thoughtful of them. I'm glad they did it that way. So yeah, it's all based on crashing into people. But the idea was to make the rule for Category 1 such that there's no way a Category 1 drone could really cause any harm to someone if it crashed. And it's pretty fun to see all the videos that have come out about the DJI Neo now, and everyone's just demonstrating like flying it directly into their heads, and like it just bounces off, right? It doesn't do anything. So 300 pages on not crashing into people are tax dollars at work. Yep. Gwen says, do you know if you can fly Category 1s commercially without Part 107 in the US? No. So the rules for the US are pretty specific, and it's very different from other countries. A lot of other countries will have a weight threshold where they just do not care what you do under a certain weight. And that's not true with the US. In the US, it's written, the rules written differently, and it's all flights have to comply with Part 107, which is get a license, certain requirements for operating airspace, all the blah, 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 right? All flights have to fall under the Part 107 rules, except flights that are for recreational purposes. So, recreational purposes is kind of vague, but essentially it means it cannot be for getting any kind of monetary value, whether that's actual cash or just for like doing a favor for flying over someone's house to sell a real estate, for a real estate listing. Anything that's not strictly recreational does not let you fall into that exception to the rule. But the way to think of it as everything needs to follow the Part 107 rules, including getting license and all that, except for certain kinds of flights. And that includes like the weight limit, but also no commercial flights at all. So, yeah. And even just posting videos on YouTube that are monetized counts as commercial. So it's not like it's not just that you're getting paid to fly or paid for the videos or the photos. It's, and I believe you also need a trust certificate. Oh yeah. That's like, I always forget to mention this because it's just such a trivial amount of work. The trust certificate's like one online quiz that's open book or whatever. It's super easy. So yeah, you can't just pick up a drone and fly. You also have to do a little bit of work to get that certificate. How much battery life does the hover have? Are the batteries easy to swap? I haven't run down the battery yet, even on that bike ride in Mexico, where it was chasing me for a good long while. That was like 10 minutes or so. I think they say it's like 10, 15 minutes, but the batteries are extremely easy to swap. They just pop off the back. What certifications do I have? I have the Part 107 license for flying in the US. So I can, that means I can fly, basically any drone, I guess, as long as I'm following all the regular rules. But that means I can use any of the footage for whatever purposes, right? I can put it on my YouTube channel. If I wanted to put it on stock video websites, I could do that. I can send it to news agencies. The other the other thing that I got, which is a new thing that's not, they didn't like, because it takes so long to create these rules, like you can imagine the amount of time and effort it takes to create a 300-page document that, getting public comments and all that. They actually wanted to open up the rules for flying over people more than this, which was now 3 years old. But doing a revision to this is a huge deal, and there is just no bandwidth in anybody's budget during this election cycle right now. So instead, what they did is they made it easier to get exceptions. So like throughout this whole time, anytime you want to fly a drone, you can apply to the FAA to get exceptions to Part 107. So these are, you can get exceptions to any of the rules, theoretically. So if you want to fly over a stadium, normally the Part 107 says absolutely not. But you can apply to the FAA and explain how you're going to do it safely, and then they might give you an exception for it. And it could be a one-time exception for a particular event. It could be only over a certain stadium. It could be everywhere forever. This is also how all the drone shows, fireworks shows work, where normally a drone pilot can only control one drone. That's written in the rules. So how does a drone show work where there's one pilot and there's 300 drones in the sky? There's not 300 people flying, that's for sure. So what they've done is they've gone and filed for these exceptions to the rules. And there's a few companies that have these, and some of them are like pretty blanket exceptions that let them do this anywhere in the US. But even doing that process of getting these waivers is slow and complicated. And you have to, write a whole essay about how you're able to still do this operation safely despite breaking these Part 107 rules. So what the FAA did was recently, a couple months ago, made it so that if you want a waiver for the part about flying over people and over moving vehicles, they essentially lowered their standards for approving the waivers. So you still have to apply for it, and you have to explain, like, here's my drone. It does have to be under a certain weight, but the weight is like, I want to say it's like 2.5 pounds or something. It's like way more than half a pound. I don't remember the exact number anymore. But it's significantly over the half a pound, and it still has to have no exposed propellers, but that now you can put a prop guard on a 249-gram drone, and it's still under that weight limit. And then you have to explain how you're going to do it safely, like blah, blah, blah. And then they'll write back and approve your waiver. And I did that and took a couple of months to get it, but I do have that now. So it's a piece of paper that explains I can now fly larger drones over people, assuming I follow this other set of rules that they've written, which includes prop guards. I think it's still no sustained flight over people. And then I do have to have a visual observer, which is something that I don't normally have to have for flying a drone, but that just means I have to have somebody next to me watching the drone. So it's pretty cool. So yeah, that is relatively new, thing they've done with the Part 107 rules. So if you are interested, you can apply for this. It'll be a while till they approve it because they have a huge, as you can imagine, a huge number of these submissions, but they all got, they did make it a lot easier to get this waiver, which is very cool. Easier than actually revising the rules. Can you link the remote ID that you have? I have one of the very first ones that was launched, but it's a bit bigger. Yeah, let me find it. I don't know if I put it into my database yet. No, I didn't. So let's do that right now. This is the price of this seems to be going up and down, but this one has been the cheapest one pretty consistently that I found. So this is, it's the Ruko R111. So that link is in the chat now. And this is, it looks huge on the screen, but it's actually like, it's tiny. It's 13 grams. It's like that small, super tiny. And you just basically stick it on with Velcro to whatever drone. And as soon as it turns on, it just starts broadcasting. So it's great. That's USB-C charging even, which is cool. I haven't run the battery down ever, so yeah. All right, let me go scroll through the chat here. Here's a question from a little earlier. How hot is the OSEE GoStream HDMI video mixer? So the so I have the SDI version here set up because I wanted to show some stuff about this. This one has a fan built in, and let's see if I can feel it. Yeah, so this one has a fan, and I'm feeling the bottom of it, and I would say it's not hot at all. It's warm. The HDMI one does not have a fan, so on the plus side, it's silent. On the downside, what is this? Oh, there's an HDMI hanging out down there. On the downside, that means that it does get a lot hotter. And I would say that the HDMI version does start to feel hot. So you definitely want to get it off the desk, which is why I have it in this stand. There should be a link to this in the description. But this tilts it up so that there's space on the bottom so that the heat can vent. So that's... Yeah, the HDMI one definitely starts to feel warm after a while. Mark says, do you know that any reasonably priced devices that delay the audio into a video switcher that has no audio delay? Ooh, interesting. I feel like there's the little Behringer feedback destroyer box has one. What is that? It's an old... Reasonably priced was your criteria. That's the rack mount version. I thought there was a little tiny box version. What is the model of that? FBQ 100. Is it not even a current? This is what I'm thinking of. This has an audio delay feature in it. In addition to doing all the other stuff, but $75 used is a pretty good deal. I guess it's not current anymore. I'm kind of surprised. Then I also found this one, which is the also out of stock. This is like a rack mount version of the same thing. Yeah, out of stock. Interesting. Don't know why that's all discontinued. Yeah, that's the one. Don't know why it's discontinued, but I guess you can get them used. There were a lot of options for used ones for like 75, which is fine. Good price. Last week I asked for a solution for sports streaming. Figured out that Director Mini supports RTSP and all major CCTVs support it. Suggest a box camera with 30x. Oh yeah, that's a good point. You can bring in RTSP feeds into the Director Mini, which is a neat trick. So yeah, all the little CCTVs, which don't usually have the best image quality, but maybe it's fine. Maybe it's fine. Everyone's screaming Behringer shark. Okay. A lot of folks in the GoStream Deck Facebook group complain about heat on the HDMI version, sometimes shutting down. Oh, interesting. Bunch use laptop cooling pads. Oh, that's the other way to do it. Yeah, if you don't have it raised up. When you switch the USB-C out of an ATEM Extreme to see the multi-view, do both of the USBs switch or just one? If both, you can't connect a drive to one of them. I thought they were independent. Do I have... You know what? I don't think I've actually updated Lily's. Let me see if I can do that right now. While that opens. Does the companion module for the OSEE support supersource layout parameters like the ATEM Extreme does? I don't think so, really. Let me see. I have my GoStream connected. There it is. Let's take a look. Where's a good? It is 53. Let's see what we have for GoStream deck actions. DSK, super source. Oh yeah, you do get options. Super source, Y position, H star, yeah. And border, that's cool. So you can adjust, yeah, you can adjust all the parameters. So if I go into the super source menu here, I guess I should probably share this. Where is, oh, it's because the output needs to be, let me do it this way. Oh, what? Oh, jeez. Aux, GoStream. Where is the action? GoStream, set. I forget what they call the output. Settings, aux. No, not aux source. Shoot. Let's see if it's in called source. GoStream deck, outsource. That's what I want. I want to make HDMI 1 the multi-view. And then projector preview. So I can switch it back. Let's see if that works. Yes, great. Now I can show you the menu system that I'm scrolling through. What I wanted to show you was the super source options here. So we do get, so all of these controls I did see Stream Deck options for, like Y position, mask one. Oh, did I see the style? Not sure if I saw the style. Super source. Oh, interesting. I don't see the style in companion, but everything else seems to be adjustable. What was I doing? Okay, great. That's where I was. Trying to scroll. Okay, the chat's getting very, very hard for me to scroll through, so definitely put a Q in front of your question if you have a question now. Matt says, customer has a Pocket 3 with a mic. I really like the fact that the mics pair directly with it, and wants to stream. I watched your video that it didn't work all that well. It's the minimal setup they can use. The problem with the streaming feature in the Pocket is that it's like, it requires the phone app and it's just very fiddly. So probably the minimal setup is plugging it into a computer and using OBS. I hate to say it, but use it as a webcam into a computer. Then they get the rest of the benefits of like the mic is just paired automatically. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of the streaming feature built into the Pocket or really any of these cameras, frankly. Yeah, so, okay, so other things I want to talk about today are, for example, explaining how in the world am I getting these video clips being played back into here. This is Lily's live stream from last week, and I want to do this so I could test these any kind of streaming devices with real live stream content, not just me sitting in front of the screen here. So I talked about this a little bit a couple weeks ago, but I have a new trick for it. And the trick is that getting 4 HDMI players is kind of expensive, and getting them in sync is also a challenge. So, you know, I do have HyperDecks over here, but that's like way overkill for using for this. I can do it, but it's overkill. Instead, what I want is a much smaller, more portable version of it. So what I did, remember this? I used to talk about these a lot on the streams. These little Micca Speck players. This is, I will drop a link because, so you can find it. Where is it? The Micca Speck. They're basically little. Here's the HDMI one. I'm gonna go find the 4K one, which is what makes this work. They're just little HDMI players that you can plug in a SD card or USB drive, and it'll just play back videos or photos. They have a couple different modes, but one of the things I like is that you can use it. You can tell it to, where's my remote for it? This one. You can tell it to autoplay. So if I go to the device, let's bring the menu up. Oops, I got to point at it. That would help. So here's the menu for it. We've got repeat options, repeat all, play all once, repeat one. So, and where's the, oh, there it is. Oops, geez. What did I just do? Size 36. I don't know what that means. Is that the font size? I guess so. Somewhere in here there was a setting for what it plays when it boots up. Anyway, the cool thing is that it has this option for what do you want it to do when it turns on first. And you can tell it to just play, autoplay whatever files are on the disk. So that is, there is the 4K one. So the reason that I got this 4K one is because what I can do is I can render a video with, so I ISO recorded Lily's live stream from last week, and doing the ISO recording meant that I had, you know, separate video files for each of her cameras. There are really 4 main cameras: her main camera overhead, the cat cam, and the iPad. The other ones are like her chat and video clips for playback, which are not really camera angles, and some of the switchers let me do that in a different way anyway. So I took 4 cameras, the 4 main cameras, put them into Resolve, scaled them down into, you know, 4 corners of a 4K video, and exported a 4K video of this. So if I scroll through this, you know, it's 4 cameras in each corner, and because it's 4K, each of these is full HD. This file ended up being 28 gigs, which is for her, what is it? 2 hour and 15 minute long stream. Was a long one last week. And so I've got a, you know, almost 2.5 hour long video in 28 gigs. It is H.265. And then I can play this back on the Micca Speck 4K, which looks like this. So here it's playing back. Obviously this is now downscaled to 1080 for this live stream. But it's playing back the 4K file, you know, into whatever. So I have one copy of that piped into the stream here, so I can show it to you. You can see the it's also showing up on this little screen, right, as the grid. So then I want copies of each of the individual segments broken out into individual HDMI feeds, so I can bring them into a switcher like this. So that's where this other device comes in, which is this video wall controller. So a video wall controller, normally what you would use it for is, and, oh, apparently I didn't prep this part. Oh, right, this one's on AliExpress. I couldn't, or there is a Amazon link for it, but it's way more expensive. So don't buy this from Amazon, but I'm just putting this link in here so that I can. That's not quite the right one. Where is it? It's. I found it earlier. It is very similar to this one. Okay. So I'll grab the AliExpress link as well, because that's much cheaper. Is it this one? Nope. Once I grab this, here we go. No, that's more expensive than it should be. It should be like $40. There it is. Okay, let me grab that other link. Great. So here is the video wall controller. So what this is normally for is to take a video and split it into 4 videos so that you can use multiple monitors as a single monitor, right? So you have your, your video clip that you want to blow up onto a screen. You can also do different arrangements. Sometimes this one does have a couple other arrangements. So if you want to make it like a tall, skinny video, you can do that, right, with 4 screens stacked that way, or 3 screens. Or if you have it in 2x2 mode, then it'll be, you have a much bigger screen that way. So this is the one that I have. It was like $40 and maybe 30. Is that Canada dollars? I'm on the AliExpress US. I don't know why it put me in Canada dollars. Weird. Anyway, the it's not really $16. That's if you get this, like if it's your first purchase on AliExpress or something. So anyway, normally this is what that's for. But what I am using it for instead is, because my source file is 4 separate video feeds in a grid, I can split it back out into individual HDMI sources. So then in the GoStream, as far as the GoStream is concerned, there are 4 separate video feeds in here, and each one is in one of the inputs. So, back behind here is where I've got the video wall controller. I've got the HDMI player sending it into the splitter, which then breaks out into 4 HDMI sources that bring it into the GoStream. And now I can just play this back. So if I bring up any of the on-screen menus, you'll see why it's a little funny. I'll show you the multi-view of the GoStream. So if I bring up the menu for this device, it's going to show it split across the 4 screens, right? Or if I pause it, the little progress bar is going to show up on 2 of those screens, the bottom 2. So it's kind of funny, but I don't really have to ever interact with it using the remote anyway, because it's just set to autoplay. So as soon as I pop in an SD card, it just plays whatever's on that card, and then I get the 4 outputs. So now this is perfect for testing, because I can do this and I can pull 4 video feeds into whatever switcher I've got in front of me and test it with actual recordings of things, not just live shots of me, which is how I've been normally doing it. So I think it's pretty cool. Is anybody using the GoStream Duo? Can I see the live stream footage? I mean, yeah, I'm literally, it's set up right now in front of me, so you can see what it's doing. Although I'm not broadcasting. I could broadcast this to an unlisted URL, and you can see what it looks like. Why don't I do that really quick? Because yeah, I don't know if I've actually done a stream on my channel that's actually broadcast with the GoStream rather than just a test showing the GoStream. So let's try that. I will do a separate stream right now. OSEE GoStream test broadcast. I'm gonna make this unlisted so it doesn't blast it out. And then I will share the link in the chat. This will also be a good demo of the OSEE software control, which is, oh, did it close? Looks like it closed. Okay, so the link is here. I'm going to drop this in the chat. And GoStream software, so I can drop the stream key in. Oh, I'm going to set it to ultra low latency as well. And GoStream. Okay, there we go. So to get the stream key in here, I do wish I could just type it in, but I first have to actually go and do this. I have to make a stream XML file. Oh no, this is YouTube, so I can just use their built-in one. YouTube. Okay, great. Primary stream key. It looks like it's going to show it to you, so I'm going to do this off stream. And that's turned on, and the other two are not. Okay. Great. So now that this is configured, I don't need the software control anymore. Okay, we got 8 people here, so I'm going to go ahead and, oh, let me actually rewind the video in this player to the beginning. So, oh, this wasn't the full stream, so this is just, it's just a random part of Lily's live stream. I think I cropped this in the recording so that I had always had these 4 video sources set up. And then for audio, let's see, I'd probably want to, let me just bring my stream audio in. Oh, wait. I don't have my stream coming in here anywhere. Let me put my stream in one of the inputs instead of just the recordings. So I'm going to grab, what is it, the purple one? I'm going to replace the iPad with myself. Then I can come into there, and then I can also bring my audio in. So I'll go to input 4, which is, so I can tap on the input 4, turn that on, and now, yeah, now I can see in here that I've got my audio here and my main camera. Also, I guess this is a good time to switch what's on my TV. Let's make it the multi-view of the GoStream. So, okay, so now we're ready to go live. Let's go make sure I didn't. Gotta go to 8K juice on a 4K switcher. Yeah, true. Okay, so yeah, I've got me and then Lily's other cameras. So let's start with my logo. Still 2. And start streaming. Go live. Pop over to the YouTube console and see what's going on. So in the YouTube console, we should be getting data. And normally I would have my countdown audio, but this is just going to be my live audio. So let's do it. Let's go live. Okay. So now we're live. Again, the YouTube preview is terrible. This is never rely on this to tell you what's going on. That's just my general rule for the YouTube studio. I don't know why it's so bad. But if I pop over to the actual stream, we should see the, oh my gosh. Okay, we are on the air, and now I can start doing cuts. So let's do a transition to me and bring myself on the air. And that should, in a couple of seconds, looks like we've got pretty good latency there. And now I can see that we are live on YouTube. Oh, I should have checked the streaming quality. What streaming quality am I doing here? Stream, oh shoot, there's my stream key. Hi. Okay, don't take over my stream. You can't anyway, well, now that I'm on the air. So stream quality is set to high. I do have high, medium, and low, so just keep that in mind. And now I can just do, you know, my normal cuts to the other camera angles, and we can do, we can cut to the cat cam. We can, do I have super source configured? Yes, I do. Oh, that's funny. It's me and Lily side by side. So this is the stream to this unlisted YouTube video, and this is the quality that you get. So I'll make sure this goes into the video description so you can see the archive of it as well. But this is what we're working with. I guess so my camera is live, right? The recordings of Lily's cameras are already, H.264 compressed or H.265 compressed recordings. So maybe it's not quite realistic version of what you get on YouTube, but my camera is actually live, and this is like, HDMI feed directly into the switcher. So this is a realistic version of what we would get from the GoStream. Yeah, I'll leave that going for a little bit so we have more info, more data. Glad to find your channel. Well, thank you for being here. Oh, yes. You skipped my question about the USB multi-view switch and the multi-USB switch. Right, because I was trying to upgrade my ATEM before I can demo that. Let me do that really quick. So what I was trying to do was I need to upgrade. I don't have an ATEM Extreme turned on. It's sitting over there, but I do have Lily's, which I can connect to remotely, and I can upgrade that one, which I think is this address. Let's see if that works. Will it find it? Oh, I think it's this one. No? Hello? SDI Pro. I guess that will have the setting also. And so we can test it with this one, because this one's connecting. I do have to update it though. Is that going to break anything? SDI, no, that's just sitting down here. I can update this one. Okay, so sorry we have to wait a little bit longer for me to update this so I get the setting. Oh, you know what I can do with the stream is let me actually make it so that the thing that's being fed into the GoStream is my program, not just my camera. Let's do that. Matrix, which is that? Matrix 1? No, it's patch 1. That should actually be ME1, not... There we go. So now if I go into SuperSource, you should see in the GoStream stream, you should see the SuperSource now, not just my camera. So that's a little nicer. Okay, ATEM software update is complete. I guess that means it's going to reboot. There it is. Let's connect to it. And let's test the output. Webcam out. Yeah, okay. So webcam out. There's one setting for webcam out. Oh, this only has one USB port. Shoot, I do need to test it with the Extreme. We do need to... Huh, why am I not... Maybe I should get on the Wi-Fi that one's on. Let's see if that helps. It should be able to connect over VLANs. I don't know why that's not working. ATEM and Extreme. Ah, there we go. Let's update that. Okay. Always safe to update your ATEM over Wi-Fi. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. What is the white audio mixer next to the GoSee? Oh yeah, so this is a RØDECaster Duo. This is a new addition here. This Rode sent this over in the package where they sent me the secret product that I can't talk about yet. But they also sent me a RØDECaster Duo, and I asked for the white one, which I think is very pretty. And I will say I am extremely impressed, and I probably should have got one of these sooner. I see why everybody's a fan of the RØDECaster now. It's really well done, and it's, I don't know, it's not what I expected. It's very simple to use and also very flexible. It can do a ton. The Duo only has the 2 XLR inputs, but it still has a bunch of audio channels. There's 4 faders here because there's 4 separate audio channels that it can mix. And I really like, I kind of wish I had it better in the overhead shot. Maybe I can scoot this a little bit that way. And now you can see the menu here. So this little menu is like, you know, where you do everything if you don't have the software control on your computer. But this is where you can choose what channels, what actual audio sources do you want each of these faders to do, which I don't know why it never occurred to me that it worked that way. This camera is a little bit overblown. There we go. So here I've got this channel set to wireless. If I wanted to, I could also change it to pull from the wired connection. This one's set to a second wireless channel, and then this one is set to Bluetooth. So I can pair my phone with it, for example. And then this one is the sound pads. But if you didn't want to ever use the sound pads, you could also like set up this channel to actually be like your USB audio instead, right? And now, and then I don't know why it unpairs all the wireless. So now, anyway, now this fader controls the USB audio level rather than the sound pads. So it's really cool that you can just like reassign what you want these faders to do, and then you get your mute buttons for them, right? Being able to pair directly with the wireless mics, very, very cool. So now this is just connected wirelessly into channel 1, and actually it's I don't know if you can hear it, but the audio output, I have monitor set to oops, not that, routing monitor. I actually have my microphone channel being output over the speakers that this is connected to, which is I can hear now in the room. I can hear my own voice, but it's not delayed, so it's fine. And it's also not causing any feedback, which is pretty cool. I don't know if you can tell from my streaming microphone the difference. I don't know if you can hear it or not, but yeah, it's very cool. So I probably actually don't want that to be on the speakers, so I could, oops, let's do it that way, bring that down. Now I don't hear myself in the room. So that is, you know, you can change what audio sources you want to hear out the analog output too. So the reason I have this sitting next to the GoStream, oh, you're probably hearing double on the test stream, because now that I'm looking at this, that's fine. The reason that you're hearing double is because on mic 1, there we go. Now I can turn that off. So the cats are eating. Very important. Gotta show you the cats on the, oh, it's just a cat butt now, on the test stream. So the on the, there we go. Where was I? On the, so this output, there's 2 1/4-inch outputs here, and these go to the speakers in the room, so I can make a mix for what I'm hearing. So I could, for example, if I have a sound effects or music being played back from something else, I can put that into the room so I can hear it, but then I don't want to hear my microphone. But then the headphone output, I have headphone 2 actually plugged in to this little, it's a, what is this? This is a 1/4-inch to dual 1/4-inch splitter to, and then I've got 1/4-inch dual to 1/8 inch here. And that's plugged into the microphone jack of the GoStream. And that is actually bringing, that means headphone 2, where is it? Routing. So headphone 2 is the main mix, but I could also make a custom mix for the GoStream, but I just have it set to the main mix right now. And that's actually bringing the audio into the GoStream. So if we look at the GoStream, you can see, oh dear. You can see the mic 1, which is not turned on right now. Let me turn it back on. Mic 1 is the RØDECaster mix. So that is the wireless mic that I'm holding, which is very cool. So that is a way to get an actual audio mixer to work with the OSEE, because the OSTream audio mix is definitely much more limited than the ATEM's audio processing. It just has like the simple routing options. So this is what I'm planning on. This is the reason I'm doing all of this is I'm testing this. Like, can I use this setup for the conference I'm going to go film next month? And I'm trying to figure out like, okay, what kind of microphone should I bring for that? Should I use this, or should I get like a real microphone and plug in over XLR? Can I feed the room speakers from this? And in which case I actually want only the microphone going out the speakers. But then I also need a mix sent to the GoStream, which is what I'm using the headphone jack for. And this will be doing the live, actually not live stream, webcam out to Zoom for that, and then recording to a drive as well. So far so good. I'm pretty impressed. It's working pretty well. Okay, that was a long tangent. Where was I? The point. Oh, I was doing that because I was waiting for waiting for the ATEM setup to complete, which it looks like it did. So now we can go back to ATEM setup and try to connect to the Extreme. Oh, I don't know why you're not finding the Extreme. Let's type in the IP address and see if I can connect to it that way. Okay, there it is. Is this up to date? Let's find out. Webcam out. Okay. So there is one webcam out. You don't get to choose the webcam output for the two USB ports separately. There's one webcam encoder that answers that question. So I can choose multi-view or any of the sources now, which was not the case before. So if I want a multi-view over webcam, I can do that. However, this does not affect the recording. Like, it's not changing what's being recorded to a USB drive, because again, the USB drives plugged into the ATEM it's not a webcam, so it's not like using the webcam out. The USB drive is always going to record the program. So if I remember correctly, your concern was, I don't think you used it's just lost in the scroll back. When you switch the USB-C out, do both of the USBs switch? Then when you connect, if both, you can't connect a drive to one of them. Yeah, so no, this is not a problem, because what it's doing is it's selecting the webcam output, not selecting, like, it's not like an HDMI port where it's just whatever video goes out. It's changing what the webcam output is. And if you plug in a drive, that's not using the webcam. So it's fine. But I did want to double check that there aren't two separate USB port outputs in that settings, which is true. So there's only one webcam output selection, but you can still record to a drive. Emerald says, I've had the RØDECaster Pro 2 since launch. Best piece of kit ever for a studio stream. I actually hacked it together with Dante today. How? That's cool. Any suggestion for a mixer for 8 XLR mics plus audio input for music for in-person events? Looking for something that doesn't take a degree to figure out how to use. Yeah, well, that's the problem. I feel like most mixers, they're going to be 8 inputs and something else like external audio. You're getting into like the real mixer territory, and I think you're going to have to learn a little bit about real mixers. Like the RØDECaster has simplified this down so much that it is like, it does not work the way a normal mixer works. This is much, much, much simpler. But they do not have an 8 input version. So I think you're going to have to learn a little bit about how the mixers work, but there are a ton of options. Actually, one of the ones that I had, I sold it a while ago, but I like it, and there's 2 different versions of it. It's the Behringer X Air. Yeah, I'll send this one to the chat. This one, let's look at it here. Oh, it's gone from B&H. Is it on? Oh, and it's even cheaper now. It's on back order though. But you get, oh, this is more inputs than needed. They have a couple different versions of this. This is more than you need, but it's got the line input also. The reason I bring this one up is because there is no mixing surface on it, so you have to use an iPad or the computer app, which is, I think, actually kind of nice, because then it's you can one, you can automate it with Companion, which is how I was using it, which really makes it simpler to use in a live production. But their apps are also like, I guess they are modeled after a mixing board, but it's, so you have to learn a little bit about it. But then this is the one for the larger one that I have down there, the X32. But the other one, it looked the same as this. I was just looking around at this, looking at other mixers, because I was trying to figure out, should I use the RØDECaster for this live event or something more traditional? Real mixers, lol. Yeah, classic. Maybe I'll use the word classic. Let's see. 8 input mixer. So there's a bunch. They're gonna look like this, right? With like, you got all your knobs, you've got your different audio inputs. This is actually, I guess, not 8 inputs, right? Because those are stereo channels. But you know, you have a ton of them that are gonna look like this, and then have more knobs than you really ever want to use. There's some that are like simplified versions of these. Like there's, I swear there's a version of the Flow that has 8 XLRs, which might be another option. This also tries to simplify. Oh, maybe there's no. I thought there was a Flow 16. But if you just look at it, like, there's way less options on here, which means it's going to be easier to use. That's kind of how I think about it. A lot of these now have a Bluetooth option, which is cool. So if you want to play back audio from a phone, you can just pair your phone directly to it instead of bringing it in with a cable, which is really nice. So I would recommend finding one of those. Yamaha MG12 is a classic. I have one floating around in a crate somewhere. Simplest mixers to use are still the analog mixers. Consider something like the Mackie Pro FX 12V3. Oh yeah, Mackie has good stuff too. There's just so many options for audio mixers. It's like, frankly, a little overwhelming. I had a Mackie mixer ages ago that was very, very analog. Here we go. This is not quite 8 XLRs inputs, but I mean, there's a lot of knobs, but at least these are like self-explanatory and not changing what they do all the time. Like sometimes the digital mixers with the interfaces, like, actually it's true with the RØDECaster, you know, this knob doesn't always do the same thing because it depends on how you've assigned it. I do think they did a good job with making it easy to understand how to assign it and change what it does. But like some of the other mixers will have more like virtual buttons, I guess, is what I would say. I just realized my test stream is still going. It is a bit overwhelming. I use a 12V3 at my university, easy to use and train on. That's good to hear. Thank you, that's enough. I'm quite satisfied with the price versus quality of the product, although of course your main gear is better. I guess I can stop the test stream now. This is, oh, that was a comment on the test stream, in fact. Thanks, yeah. So, oh, now we're gonna get tunnel vision since I am showing my computer screen on the test stream. Yeah, I will cut the test stream. So let's go to, there we go. I can just tap live and turn it off, I think. Oh, maybe I have to hold it down. Nope. How do I stop it? Oh, no. Well, that's embarrassing. Do I... Oh, there it goes. It just stopped. Okay. I guess it... Weird. I don't know what exactly happened. Okay, where was I? Scott says the Behringer analog mixer that would meet the needs is the QX222 USB. Let's take a look at that one. It's big. Oh my gosh, all the pop-ups. There's a good deal on it right now. It's a lot of buttons. Okay, yeah, we do have 8 actual inputs. We have more extra inputs than you need. All the aux stuff, which you wouldn't need for any of that. But yeah, at least these are all straightforward faders and EQ adjustments. Oh, and it has USB, which is cool. The USB output option of these is cool because there's, starting to be some video mixers that take USB audio in, like the Yellow Box and the Magewell Director Mini can take USB audio interfaces in, which actually means another good use for the RØDECaster Duo, because I can bring that in over USB to the Director Mini, and then it's bringing me in digital audio, which is cool. What box am I showing off today? We talked about a couple things today. We've talked about the OSEE GoStream Duet. This is the one with the SDI version with the SDI inputs, although I'm not actually using the SDI inputs today. But I do have a video coming out this week that goes into this box in a more concise format. So keep an eye out for that. We've also talked about the RØDECaster Duo today, which is a nice 2 XLR input, but multiple channel mixer. I actually don't know how many channels you can have turned on all at once, because I have 4 faders, but I do have these virtual faders also for 2 channels. So it's a cool little box. Oh, the other thing that I totally forgot to talk about. Let me see if there's anything in the chat before I get way off track again. There is another box that I want to talk about, though, which is this little guy. So remind me. Your duet video already came out. I have another duet video. So I did a video last week, which was like complete overview, although I apparently missed a couple of features about the duet. According to the OSEE folks emailed me, and they were like, "We love your video. People shared it in our Facebook group. You missed a couple of features." And I was like, "Oh no, let me do another one." And they're like, "No, it's fine. Like you did a great video." So, but yeah, there were a couple of Facebook comments that were like covered almost all the features. So I apparently missed something. So that was a full overview of the GoStream, which is like, if you're curious about any of the features of it, I walked through like every single menu in the device. So go take a look at that video. But on this week, I have another video, which is make sure I get. I've been filming so many videos that I'm trying to get ahead of my content schedule, because my travel schedule for the next 2 months is absolutely out of control. Scheduled. Okay, yes. So the video coming up, a little teaser for the video, is basically walking through my thought process of how I am choosing a video switcher to bring to this conference, for filming a small conference. So if I have a gig coming up and I need to bring a video switcher to and stream or record, what things am I going to be considering about what video switcher to bring, including whether that's going with the Director Mini or which in this case doesn't work, because spoiler alert, the problem is that I can't feed a projector from it. So the GoStream is great for this because it has 2 HDMI outs. So one is my monitor, and the other one can be feeding a projector, which in my video, I was using that TV as a sample of the pretending to be a projector. So that video I'm excited for it. But yeah, so the next, after that, what I want to do is basically recreate that same setup of filming a conference. I'll show my little graphic here because it's kind of helpful. I have this keynote deck that I made for the graphics for it. This is the kind of setup I'm doing, right? Where it's like a small room of people. I've got 2 cameras, wide shot, close-up shot of the presenter. I need slides from them. I need to feed a projector. The reason I want to feed the projector is so that when they yank their computer out, I can switch to a break screen instead of having it just be a blank screen, which basically means I need to be able to control what goes out to that HDMI. And that's where a lot of the options just don't work. So the only 2 really are the GoStream and the ATEM Mini Extreme right now. They have these 2 outputs until you get like larger switchers, sure, but I'm talking about like small ones. And that brings me to this, which is the little GoStream M2. I decided to just buy this because it was only $100. I didn't feel like it was worth sending it to me. So it was $100. It's not exactly what I want, but it's the closest thing to what I want that exists. And this is essentially a 2-input switcher. It is not fancy. There's only, like, if you look at the ports on it, it's just 2 HDMI ins, 1 HDMI out, and then USB for power. But, it does have audio, which I'm not going to use. It has a couple of these little layout options, which I'm, again, never going to use. All I want is these 2 buttons. And that means what I can do is I can put the iPad and the presenter's laptop into this, and then change what goes out. So I can feed the projector from this, and then I can use this into any switcher. So if I'm feeding the projector from this, I can use a Director Mini or a YOLO box because I don't need the feature in the switcher to do the projector output. So that's why I got this. It's not exactly what I want, but it will work for this because what I actually want, I started diagramming this out because I want OSEE to make this, or anybody really, but I feel like OSEE is set up very well to do this. What I actually want is 2 HDMI inputs and 2 outputs. One of the outputs is only a pass-through of HDMI 1, and then the other one is the one that's switched. And that way I have the, I guess I should put this little, I can have the presenter's laptop here going into HDMI 1, but then this one would be the, I need like a different icon for it. Let's see. Do we have an iPad? No. Phone. This is an iPad. An iPad running Keynote. There. Now you can tell it's an iPad because it's sideways. So an iPad is running Keynote, and it's just got a little break screen, which is what I've got here. I can just make an iPad presentation in Keynote that's just running on a loop, and I can have that as something I can always switch to. So the program out, which is the projector, which is this icon, and I'll put that over here. So the projector gets fed from the program, and then HDMI 1 goes into my video switcher. So let's both of these have the feature. So let's grab just a little box. So this would be like a video switcher that doesn't have a second output. So like Magewell Director Mini, right? So now the loop output is always the presenter's laptop, and it'll go dark when they unplug their computer, which is fine because in the Director Mini I don't need the break screen. And the program then is the projector. The questions obviously then become like, are there other options you want here? Maybe I sometimes do want to show the break screen in the Director Mini, so maybe I want this to be able to change it between a loop output and the program output. So really it's a 2x2 matrix at that point. do I want auto switching? So one example would be, as soon as it stops detecting an HDMI signal from input 1, it auto switches to HDMI 2. Ideally seamlessly, so that there's no flicker. And in that case, do I always want it to require an HDMI source, or do I maybe want to load a still image into the device and have it fall back to that when the source is yanked? That'd be very cool. So maybe I actually need a USB port for loading in a still graphic. I can plug it into the computer, upload a graphic to that, and then I can have like a conference branding, right? So that if you oops, I deleted my HDMI. So that if they yank their computer out of HDMI 1 and I don't have an iPad plugged in, it'll just auto fail over to a still graphic. So yeah, we're gonna call this output 1 and output 2, and we're gonna make it a matrix, and it's essentially either I need one more option here. These are these are meant to be little switches. So this is like the main switcher. Out 2 source is either 1 or 2, but then out 1, I either want it to be, I guess I could have a separate button for it. Yeah, maybe that's easiest. I'm just trying to think, like, do I want it to tie it to the projector ever? In which case it's more like program out or HDMI 1 out. That's the other way to think of this. Product design is hard. Out 1 source is either going to be 1 or input 1 or program. Output 2 is either going to be input 1. No, this is program source. Input 1 or input 2. I see why people struggle with deciding how these switchers work. Okay, I'm pretty sure this is covers like 4 or 5 different use cases of feeding a projector. And it's really not that much different than what they've done here. It's maybe like 2 of these. So if it was $200, I would buy it. I think they could probably do it for $150. Tell me what you think. Would you buy this? This, and then the next question is SDI. Do we need an SDI version? Should it be in a rack? Should it be a rack mount version of SDI? How many SDI versus HDMI outputs and inputs are there? But let's stick with HDMI first. I think it would be useful. Oh yeah, this was the other one. I think you need the switcher to have a still freeze store button. That was actually one of the, where was my notes on this? I had another video about this where I had that as a button. Yeah, I agree. I will put a still freeze button. Image somewhere in here. We're going to do like still capture, because then whatever is, it's its own button. So you could feed in, you could set it up where you just have a computer plugged in, you grab a still frame from it, and that's what's stored. I like that feature a lot. The roll-in switchers have that. How would it be powered? USB-C, I think. Can you control it remotely? My control room is 40 feet and 1 floor up from the stage. So I was picturing that this would live in the control room, where if you are, so for wiring, and this is, again, it's a question, is this good enough? But the way I was picturing it is, let's say this is 40 feet away or whatever. It's not that much different than it being 20 feet away in my diagram, but the laptop from the presenter is going to go all the way back to the control room, and there's a separate cable that goes to the projector. So everything meets back in the control room. The other way to do it is to have it live up in the front, in which case it works more like a decimator. It's just there's like a little bit more, where's my little magic box? So the other way to do it, which is going to require different options, is you feed the presenter's laptop into the switcher. you have the... What? Hold on. Who's... Somebody is snooping around in the... I don't know if you could hear that siren. What just happened? That's when someone tries to break into the fence. What the heck? Oh, it's somebody tried to go use the toilet. Let's see if they got scared off. Nope. Lovely. Well, it's fine. Weird. Actually, didn't think the alarm was armed this late. Got my heart racing there. Gosh. Normally, it does a good job of scaring people off, but I guess in the daylight, things are less scary. Anyway, geez. Well, now he's leaving the toilet, so it goes off again. Well, didn't break in, so that's fine. Somebody has breached the compound. You did hear the siren. Yeah, this is alarm toilet. So I don't know if I can show this without showing too much. This is fine. So I have cameras all over the yard because of the construction site. Because I like to watch it when I'm not here, but also just for security for exactly this reason. But people at night often try to come in and steal from construction sites. It's very common, not realizing that we also live here. So I've got the cameras rigged up so that I can arm the system, and if the cameras spot any people in the shot, it'll trigger a very loud alarm outside, which is actually attached to that back wall. And it does a very good job of scaring people off. So I have it both in the front and the back, and this is the front of the house right now. So this was the toilet, and I had to move the toilet over here so that if someone goes into the yard to go use it, it sounds the alarm, and it works. It turns out. I just thought that it didn't arm so late in the day. It usually turns off at like 8 a.m. But no one's supposed to be working on Sunday anyway, so if anybody goes into the yard right now, they get blasted with the siren. But yeah, so what usually happens is people get like 2 steps into this frame, and the alarm goes off, and then they just run the other direction, especially at night. And it's also true in the backyard, which is great. And it has stopped, at this point, dozens of people from getting farther than a couple of steps, and I love it. And my contractor is extremely impressed with it. So, okay. What was the app you were just showing? I would use this as if it was supported 4K. Oh, I mean, I was just showing my Keynote mockups. Is that what you're talking about? Where was I? Okay, I was talking about how we redo this if we have this box up at the stage. So, oops, that's a camera. Projector gets fed from the switcher now instead of from the video booth. And now we need another input into the video booth, which is from the switcher, so that I can grab the presenter slides. So for this one, I probably wouldn't put, maybe I would plug in like one of these little things up, on top of this switcher, so I can play back video, like a video loop. But probably I would just use the still grab a still image with the conference branding. And then what this would do is it at least means that the projector is never blank. It'll always either be the laptop that's plugged in or a still graphic. And then whatever that is gets sent back. But I think actually the way that I've got this drawn, this would work for it. I would just be using only one HDMI out. No, I'd be using two HDMI out still. So it would be program source. I would do auto switching, fall back to image, and then the output one source is the program. So yeah, so this would work for it. And then if you're talking about 40 feet, that's probably too long for HDMI, although you could do it with fiber HDMI cable. And then these two cables would be theoretically short, or I guess depends on where your projector is. But it would work for it, so that's good. Weirdest question ever, can you move over here so I can film the toilet? True. True. Could a Barco Image Pro 2 work for your presentation switch? I've never heard of that. Let's see. Barco Image Pro 2. I mean, technically there's a lot of devices that support this. The question is, are they under $400 or $300? Because an ATEM Mini, I guess ATEM Mini would require a HDMI splitter. An ATEM Mini can get us almost there, and an ATEM Mini SDI does have all the features I need, minus the auto failover. But it's got way more features than I need, and it's also not as easy to use. Actually, the OSEE GoStream is a perfect example of a device that technically would solve this. The GoStream is $300, and it has our two HDMI outs, so I can plug in the presenter's laptop, I can load still graphics, or I can plug in an HDMI player, or even playback from the internal SD card, and choose what goes out both HDMI outputs separately. So this is why any of these other devices I think are like, yeah, there are expensive devices. Here is the Image Pro 2, $1,400. I'm sure this works. I'm sure this works for it, but the point is that this works for it, and this is $300. So, but this does more than I need. So ideally, I want it to be $200 or less, and only doing this subset of things so that it's even easier to use. Because this, again, is it's not hard to use. It's just there's more things that you can accidentally bump that'll mess it up. So that's how I'm thinking about it. Some projectors have a still store or can show a blank slide if disconnected. It's true. That requires the specific projector. So if I'm going to a venue to do an event, I'm probably not bringing a projector because a lot of times the venues will have one. So I can't guarantee any features of the projector. No. My front screens are fed by a PC, not the switcher, until we can afford to upgrade to a bigger switcher. Presenters give me their files, but I'm brainstorming one with their own laptop just in case. Yeah. Does the GoStream have a scaler out? Well, what do you mean exactly? So like you can choose there's a couple different options that you have on it. Oh geez. Let me non-tunnel vision that. I really should make a button for this on my Stream Deck so I don't have to keep searching for this. There we go. Now I don't tunnel vision. So there is a setting. Sometimes the menu does that. I don't know why. A setting on the output, which is output format, and I can choose 1080p 30 or any of these settings. So it's all 1080, but I get the frame rate options. So it's not scaling it, but it is doing the frame rate conversion. I can't remember if this one upscales 720 or not. I think it does, but that's not that important anymore anyway. Smaller, less expensive means it would work for a breakout room setup as much as it would for the main stage. Exactly. So this is my point, is that like, I want something that's like this big, that has the right buttons, that is cheap enough that you can actually do this in when you have like a 6-track conference, right? And you're doing this in every room. it's just not realistic to get $1,500 devices or put a ATEM Constellation 2ME in every room. So the GoStream is like, this thing is actually really impressive because of how much stuff you can do with it, especially once you add the SDI inputs. This is so good for these small events. But it's like the only thing that can do it, you can use to feed a projector. The Magewell Director Mini is also very easy to use. The YOLO box is easy to use, but we can't use it for these live events because we don't have the option of feeding a projector from it. So that's why I want this little accessory. So yeah, I think that this is a good little box. Somebody should build it. Probably OSEE. At this point, I trust them to do it because the GoStream is very well done. Blackmagic could do it too, but I don't think it's realistic for them to for them to build it. But I could definitely see OSEE doing it, or who else? I guess any of the other ones that are doing, like Sprolink or Magewell. Actually, Magewell, because they have a lot of these little converter boxes, and they have that other one that I did a little video at their booth about 2 years ago, but never actually got my hands on it. It was kind of expensive though. The Director Mini is cool. Cost would rule out, that's the one I was thinking of. Magewell Fusion USB. That's the device I was just thinking of. The Fusion weirdly has also a lot of features, but it is expensive. I don't remember exactly what problem you're trying to solve, but I've had a lot of success using the UVC to HDMI to add an output to the ATEM Mini. Yeah, although I don't think that solves. So there's two things. One is two separate concerns. One is, can I find a single device that I can use for this setup of, there's one switcher that has enough inputs and outputs to do 2 cameras and presenter slides and multi-view for me and feed a projector, which means switchable output. Audio, I'm okay using a RØDECaster as a separate device or a regular audio mixer. But at least on the video side, is there one switcher that can do this? And the answer is right now, GoStream Duet or the ATEM Mini Extreme. The second question is there a helper device that would let me control just the projector so that I can use any of the other video switchers available, which would be YOLO Box, Magewell Director Mini, original ATEM Mini, whatever, like, any of these sort of more traditional where there's only like one multi-view output, small video switchers. So with this little helper device, this can offload the work of running the projector and all the options I need there without having it required that the main switcher has that feature. So 2 separate concerns. That's the problem. Have I already talked about the companion functionality with the GoStream? So I didn't talk about it in the last week's video, but I do have some, in the video coming out on Tuesday, I do actually run through the setup of companion for that. Oh my gosh, I see some chats for some new folks that I've totally skipped by. Content TV 2. Is there any way I can delete copyrighted music without deleting the voice audio? There is, I thought actually YouTube was starting to experiment with this feature. If I don't have any videos with copyrighted music in them because I try really hard not to, but let me see if I can find it here. I thought that when it shows up, there's an option. Actually, I think one of Lily's videos has it flagged. Let me go switch over to that. That's not going to break things if I switch my YouTube account. I think there was a song in There it is. I'm not going to actually do this to her video, but this is what you see when there's a song that has a copyright match. This one is just saying that the copyright owner is claiming the monetization of the video versus sending a takedown notice. But there should be a, yeah, this is new in YouTube. Erase the song. Remove the song while keeping other sounds such as speech, or mute all sound. It used to just mute all sound, but they added the option for erasing the song but keeping the other music. I'm assuming it's using some sort of AI thing. I'm not going to play this because if it doesn't work, it's going to flag my live stream for this song. So I'm going to test this later. I'm going to listen to what it does later, not live. But yeah, that is a new feature in the YouTube Studio. So I don't know if it's available to everybody yet or certain channels or what, but yeah. Adding UVC to HDMI to an ATEM Mini Pro would solve that problem, but that would use up the only USB-C port. Right, then you can't record to a drive, so or bring it into Zoom. This is the problem with the ATEM Mini, is that there's only one USB. Okay, here's another question from CSD Global. If you were to start from scratch, would you stick with the ATEM products or anything else? Depends on what for. I'm still very happy with the current setup I have in this studio for me. And that is the bunch of Blackmagic gear, web presenters running the stream right now because my internet's good enough and it doesn't fall over and I don't get stream buffering issues because my internet's good. Down in the rack, which I really should get a camera on so I can show you the rack. I have the Constellation 4ME, which I'm still very happy with. It lets me do all sorts of things like what I'm doing in the stream all the time of like sending random things to that TV, sending copies of my main camera into test switches I'm testing, all that kind of stuff. Like most people don't need that level of flexibility, but it's very, very useful for me. Like these little screens over here are fed from the ATEM, so I can change what's on them easily. Everything's just a big video matrix here, and it's great. It's, you know, it's exactly what I want for doing this work. However, like I'm not going to go and bring my Constellation 4ME out to a gig I'm doing somewhere on site. And that's why I'm working on, well, you'll see very soon, a series of videos coming out on this theme of like, if I'm, oh, there's the cats again. They're very cute. If I'm going to go and film a conference out somewhere, I want to bring a small amount of gear. I don't want to bring a huge amount of gear. So what's the smallest amount of gear I can bring? And that's where the GoStream is actually great because it lets me do almost everything I need actually in this one little box. And then, you know, I can put a monitor on top of it. I can, so would I, from, you know, if I'm starting from scratch, would I recommend buying an ATEM Mini to film small conferences? Probably I'd actually recommend the GoStream because it can do more things. I can feed a projector and record to an SSD and use it as a webcam. Like, and they've got this model with the SDI, which is actually super, super handy for venues because I can have some of my sources have long cable runs. Am I going to bring this out when I'm like going on a plane and, you know, flying to another country and doing a stream on the weekend? Probably not. This is actually more than I need. And it's too bulky. So that's where the Director Mini comes in. It's, you know, even smaller. I can also I can use my phone as a wireless camera to the Director Mini, and I can plug in the DJI Pocket 3 as a webcam, right? So what is it, what is the problem I'm actually trying to solve? And that's going to give me very different answers for what gear I'm going to use. If that rack mount Stream Deck is the thing, you can mount it below the screens on your right to easily pick what's on them. Ooh, that's a cool idea. Although I've already used up my rack slots now. I could put it there and that would give me buttons where I could easily choose what goes on them. But then I don't get my little patch panel. And I planned this out so well that I've used up every slot, and I don't want this. I thought about making this a 5 or 6 6Us tall, but then it means that the monitor gets up to, it's too tall. Maybe I could have squeaked out another 1U up here, and the monitor wouldn't be too tall, but I definitely didn't want to go 6. And you might notice there's a gap down here, which was intentional, so I can run wires and stuff. And like, it's really nice to be able to shove like the iPad under there, and it's out of the way, versus having this gear go all the way down to the ground. So that was a good decision. It does eat up a 1U spot though, but I think I would keep it that way. Anyway, long story short, I don't have room for any more rack gear on the top of the desk, so something will have to change if I wanted to do that. Yeah, not sure. Oh my gosh, I just realized how late it is. We've been streaming for almost 2 hours. We're gonna have to wrap this up. Yeah, okay. Any last minute thoughts? We have yeah, tell me in the chat or the comments later about whether you would, whether you think this is something you would buy and how much. I'm targeting $200 for this, and I think that's the right price point and the right feature set. We can talk about an SDI version of it later because there's some interesting thoughts there. How do you let the presenter know their video out is okay? Get them connected during the break. Yeah, that's the one downside of doing it this way. Although actually, if we wanted to go one step further with this, we could have 3 outputs. Because one thing this doesn't do is let me run a confidence monitor. So if we added 3 outs, and this is a confidence monitor, then we can feed a third screen so that they can see. And that one I think would always be a pass-through of HDMI 1. Because essentially what it means is, although I'm thinking of a use case where I would want to switch it. The answer might just be, if you're doing if you have a confidence monitor, you've bumped yourself to a tier of event that this is not marketed to. Because for the confidence monitor, one use case is the person up there knowing whether their computer has figured out that there's an external display. The other one is showing timers to the person at the stage. So if I run a timer on an iPad here, I can then give them a countdown timer to look at. I feel like that is probably best. I think that kind of event is you're bumping yourself out of the small conference tier and you're now in bigger conference tier, in which case maybe you should just get a Constellation 2 ME and use that. Yeah. Is there a good term for running a projector program versus live stream? I don't remember what it is. Could you use stage chat? Yeah, stage chat and an iPad is what I was thinking of, but we need to be able to, like, I could just feed it to the front totally separately from the video switcher, but sometimes you want to be able to switch between showing them a copy of their screen versus the timer, or timer versus something else. So yeah. The SDI Extreme ISO is perfect for that type of application. It's a good point because there's 4 outputs, so you can do a lot. It does mean you need to go between SDI and HDMI for a lot of these things. Like iPad into the switcher means going through a converter. But third HDMI in with the presenter view from PowerPoint. Yes, there's all sorts of other things that you might need, which is I think possibly bumping you into a different tier. Aaron, switcher would be great for 150 or cheaper. Should be a standard for all event breakout rooms. Great. Did you answer my SSD for ATEM ISO recording question? No, I don't remember seeing it. Ah. Suggestion for an SSD to record a 10-hour event. Oh, in general, my recommendations for SSDs is go look at Blackmagic's website in the support section. Go to ATEM. Go to ATEM Mini Pro ISO Extreme recommended USB drives. Look at this list, and then find the largest one. So, well, largest one that you want to spend money on. These are the ones that they've actually tested with, and in my experience, it is very important to follow this list because otherwise you might end up with weird glitches, which you'll be very unhappy about. So, OWC makes a 2 terabyte. Sounds like a great option. Sadly, all the Samsung T7s got taken off this list. So there is a 1 terabyte T5 if you can still find one. But definitely look at this list for compatibility because they've actually tested these and the other ones are not necessarily going to work. Most of them are discontinued. Great. Well, you might have to buy some used stuff for a while. Okay, we are going to wrap this up. We have now hit the 2-hour mark. So thank you all for being here. This was fun. Let me know if you want to buy that switcher, and I'm going to try to convince somebody to make one. I'm going to try to convince OSEE to make one. I think they're the closest. Probably they can do it the fastest, and we'll see. Otherwise, keep an eye out for some videos coming up. I've got a GoStream video coming out on Tuesday, and then later this month there is a unreleased product that I have a video coming out on, so that's very exciting. Anyway, thank you for being here. Thanks to the extreme supporters of the channel, Larry, David, and Marcin. If you are a channel member, then thank you very much, but also make sure you go into the members section on YouTube and find the link to the Discord where we chat about things during the week. We always have fun chatting about as I'm testing gear or as new products get launched, discussing stuff, and yeah, it's a great way to keep in touch. So otherwise, we will be back here, same time, same place next week, and probably talking more about this kind of small studio, small conference setup, since it's something I've been thinking about for a bit now. I'm not going to get a chance to get the DJI Neo Drone until it looks like October. Sadly, in the US, they're not out here, so I won't have a chance to play with that for a while. If anybody in Europe wants to mail me one, I will gladly, maybe we can coordinate on that, but otherwise I'll just wait for a month. I can manage. All right. Have a great rest of the day. Thank you all for being here, and we will see you again next time. Bye.